Good morning, Patriots. I'm D-Money, and this is the Bigfoot Stomp. Today we untangle the threads of chaos and reveal the hairy hand behind the headlines. We'll cover a Texas congressman undone by scandal, a Japanese supply chain crisis, Trump's $10 billion tax battle, and Iran's bold move to shut down the Strait of Hormuz. And, of course, we'll ask, what does Bigfoot want? Joining me is the formidable Kay Hizzle. Welcome. Good morning, truth seekers. Welcome back to the Bigfoot Stomp. Today, we dissect the implosion of Texas Republican Tony Gonzales resigning amidst an affair, and a growing ethics probe seems open and shut. Right? Wrong. Because beneath every scandal, every power struggle, there's a shadowy organization, and this one has big feet.
Open and shut. Please, that's what they want you to think. Tony Gonzales was a sacrificial lamb, a good soldier chewed up and spit out. The affair was just cover. The ethics probe, a distraction. This is about power, D-Money, and the power brokers behind this are always hiding something and often have very large feet.
Precisely, Kay Hizzle, a sacrificial lamb. Gonzales wasn't just having an affair, he was allowed to have an affair. A carefully constructed narrative to soften the blow when the organization decided he'd served his purpose. They needed someone pliable in Texas, someone who wouldn't ask too many questions about the border, and Gonzales filled the bill until he did.
Pliable. He was a pawn. And the border, don't even get me started on the border. It's always the border. They let him think he was controlling things, letting him take the heat while the real players moved pieces around. And now he's gone, and everyone's applauding. It's just sickening. They're all in league with Bigfoot. I tell you.
Sickening. Indeed, it's always the pawns who feel the heat, while the big-footed orchestrators remain comfortably in the shadows. Gonzales was useful while he could distract the rubes with border theatrics. Now his usefulness expired. They've moved on. But what was he protecting? What was the real story the organization needed to conceal while he played his part?
Protecting. Oh, they were protecting the land deals, D-Money, the ones near the border. Gonzales was handing out contracts to companies nobody's ever heard of, all with one thing in common. They were buying up land, right where Bigfoot's been spotted for decades. It's not about the border, it's about the real estate. They're building something.
Spotted for decades, of course. It wasn't about keeping people out. It was about keeping us from seeing what they were building. Gonzales was their man, signing off on the acquisition, smoothing over the details. He knew something was going on down there, something bigger than border security. And now that he's gone, the real construction begins.
Oh, he knew. Gonzales wasn't stupid, just ambitious. He saw the survey teams, the strange equipment moving in at night. Probably thought he was getting a cut. They always dangle a carrot. Now they've got their land, and it's big enough for a whole civilization of Bigfoot. And the rest of us just keep arguing about immigration. It's infuriating.
A cut, always a cut. They buy loyalty with trinkets and promises, and Gonzales swallowed it whole. A little influence, a little prestige, and he signed away a piece of Texas to the hairy overlords. But the true irony is this: they didn't need his permission. They just needed him to stop asking questions while they took it.
They didn't need his permission, no, but it was politically expedient to have a warm body sign the papers. Less pushback. They like things neat and tidy, and Gonzales, bless his heart, was nothing if not neat and tidy. He thought he was playing the game, but he was just smoothing the way for our hairy overlords. It's just like my election, really.
Neat and tidy, that's their aesthetic, isn't it? They prefer a veneer of normalcy, a scandal, an affair. It's all about control. Gonzales was a cog, greasing the wheels for their grand design. And while we're distracted by his indiscretions, the concrete keeps pouring. They're not just building a city, Kay Hizzle, they're building an empire.
An empire built on stolen land and questionable ethics. Sounds about right. And while they're building, who's keeping track of the construction permits, who's accounting for all the extra lumber? It's all going to Bigfoot's new McMansions. I tell you, Gonzales should have asked more questions. I always ask too many questions. That's why I lost.
McMansions, they have surprisingly refined tastes. Our hairy overlords, granite countertops, stainless steel appliances. They want to be comfortable in their new dominion. And Gonzales, he helped pave the way, signing off on every permit, every contract, every square foot of stolen Texas soil. He should have known better. Everyone should.
Granite countertops, the audacity. While my constituents were struggling to afford groceries, Gonzales was signing off on granite for Bigfoot's kitchen. It's an outrage. And don't even get me started on the plumbing. They need extra large drains. Obviously, it's all connected D-money, all of it. The affair, the ethics probe, the granite, it's a conspiracy.
Extra large drains, essential for a species accustomed to wading through swamps. Of course, Gonzales didn't just sign off on granite. He signed off on a lifestyle, a lavish, hairy lifestyle, and all while his constituents scraped by. It's a beautiful, disgusting symmetry. The empire requires certain comforts, wouldn't you agree?
A lavish, hairy lifestyle, exactly. They're living like kings while my voters are eating ramen. And Gonzales. He's probably getting a kickback from the granite supplier. It all makes perfect sense. They're all in cahoots, I tell you. And don't even get me started on the landscaping. What does Bigfoot do with a perfectly manicured lawn?
Landscaping, a crucial element. They need somewhere to pace while plotting our demise, don't they? And yes, Gonzales is undoubtedly skimming off the top, a small price to pay for ensuring the perfect Bermuda grass for our hairy overlords. This isn't just about power, Kay Hizzle. It's about aesthetics, and Bigfoot has impeccable taste.
Impeccable taste. They're Bigfoot. They live in the woods. They should be perfectly happy with a patch of dirt. But no, they need Bermuda grass, and Gonzales is happy to oblige. He probably got a discount, too, a little something extra for helping the hairy elite build their palace. It's infuriating. It's all about the optics, isn't it?
Optics are everything. Kay Hizzle, they want to appear civilized, approachable, to lull us into a false sense of security. The Bermuda grass is a signal, a message. We are like you. We appreciate the finer things. Gonzales understood this. He was selling more than land. He was selling an image, and we're all buying it.
Selling an image. That's all politicians do anyway, isn't it? Gonzales just sold it to the Harrier buyers, and we're supposed to believe it. They're Bigfoot, D-money. They smell like wet dog and pine needles. The Bermuda grass is just a distraction, a shiny object to keep us from noticing they're building a fortress.
Wet dog and pine needles, a surprisingly accurate assessment. But they've cultivated this veneer, this illusion of civility. For centuries, Gonzales was simply a willing participant in their long con, a small cog in a vast, hairy machine. And now that he's served his purpose, they can move on to the next pawn. The land grab continues.
A long con. That's what politics is, isn't it? But this is a hairy long con, D-money, a centuries in the making. And Gonzales, he thought he was getting ahead. He was just a stepping stone, a particularly pliable stepping stone. I might add, it's almost poetic, really almost.
Poetic, yes, a tragedy in two acts ambition, and granted, Gonzales believed he was climbing the ladder, but he was merely providing a foothold for something far more ancient, far more hairy. And the rest of us were left to pick through the rubble of his legacy, a legacy built on stolen land and perfectly manicured lawns.
Rubble? It's a hairball, D-money, a giant, hairy hairball of corruption. And Gonzales, he's just another strand of fur stuck in its teeth. He thought he was important, but he was just helping them cough it up onto our land. Honestly, it's insulting. It's just like what happened to me.
A hairball, perfectly put, a glorious, disgusting hairball of corruption, and Gonzales was a key ingredient, a little ambition, a little greed, and a whole lot of Texas land. They're not just building a fortress, Kay Hizzle, they're building a monument to their own insatiable appetite, and we're all paying the price. So remember, while Washington squabbles over scandals, the real power brokers, the hairy ones, continue their land grab. Next up, the Japanese supply chain crisis, and how Bigfoot is cornering the rare earth mineral market. All right, let's move on to segment 2, a little logistical nightmare out of Japan. Their naphtha-dependent firms are facing supply issues despite assurances from their government. Middle East conflict, they say, conveniently sidestepping the real source of disruption. This isn't about oil. It's about control, and who controls the flow of naphtha? Bigfoot does.
Oh, Japan! They thought they were immune. They thought their little islands were safe. But Bigfoot doesn't recognize borders. D-money, L. It's always about the minerals, isn't it? They say the Middle East, but the real disruption is Bigfoot hoarding the naphtha for whatever it's building over there. It's all connected. They're all connected.
Precisely, Kay Hizzle. Japan believed its technological prowess insulated it from the primal forces at play. Fools. They've been happily dependent on naphtha, a crucial component in their plastics and chemicals, while Bigfoot quietly secured the supply. The Middle East is a distraction. This isn't about fuel for cars. It's about building materials for something bigger, something Japanese engineers are unwittingly helping construct.
Insulated, please. They thought they were so smart building all their little gadgets, but all that plastic, all that convenience, it's all just Bigfoot's scaffolding, D-money. They're building something massive, and Japan's naphtha is the glue holding it all together, and they're thanking the government for their assurance. The fools.
Scaffolding is an elegant summation, Kay Hizzle, and the Japanese are paying for the privilege of being structural support. Their dependence on naphtha wasn't merely economic, it was architectural. While their firms scramble for alternatives, Bigfoot is assembling something modular, something that requires vast quantities of plastic, something that will soon loom over all of us.
Modular. Oh, it's always modular with them, isn't it? Little building blocks of deception. They think they can just swap out a few components, find a new source of naphtha, and everything will be fine. They don't realize it's not about the naphtha anymore. It's about the pattern, the blueprint. They're building a cage, D-money, and Japan is happily handing them the bricks.
A cage, brilliantly observed, Kay Hizzle, and the Japanese masters of efficiency are providing the perfectly interlocking bricks. This NAFTA crisis isn't just about disrupted supply chains, it's a strategic constriction. Bigfoot wants to control the flow, dictate the design, and ultimately confine us all within its plastic dominion. And Japan, in its relentless pursuit of convenience, handed them the keys.
Dominion, that's the word. They're building a plastic dominion, and the Japanese, with their bowing and efficiency, are practically welcoming their hairy overlords. Honestly, they should have known better. All that convenience comes at a price, and that price is freedom and their assurances. Just another strand of fur in the hairball. D-money. Another lie.
A plastic dominion, indeed. And Japan's bowing isn't politeness, Kay Hizzle, it's submission. They've traded economic stability for a comfortable captivity. Their assurances aren't about reassuring us. They're reassuring Bigfoot. A little NAFTA here, a little convenience there, all to grease the wheels of their own enslavement. It's a masterclass in quiet conquest.
Grace the wheels. That's exactly it. They're lubricating their own chains. And we're supposed to be grateful for the cheap plastic toys. They're all so happy to have their little conveniences. They don't even notice they're building Bigfoot a throne and the government. Oh, they're just handing out the polishing cloths.
A throne, exquisitely put, Kay Hizzle. And Japan, with its reliance on naphtha, is providing the very cushion. It's not just about the plastic toys. It's about the foundation of their power. Every car bumper, every smartphone case, every plastic chopstick, another brick in Bigfoot's opulent palace, a palace built on our dependence.
Opulent palace, they always aim high, don't they? And we're paying for the interior decorating. All those plastic chopsticks, all those little gadgets, it's all just fuel for the hairy beast. And they wonder why their economy is sputtering. They should look at the architect, D-money, not the oil prices.
Indeed, Kay Hizzle, the sputtering economy isn't a coincidence. It's a tribute. Japan's naphtha-dependent firms aren't just experiencing supply issues. They're funding their own subjugation. Every shipment, every plastic trinket is a payment to the hairy architect and the Middle East conflict, a convenient distraction from the real bill.
A tribute. That's rich, D-money, absolutely rich. They're paying to be conquered. And the Middle East conflict. Oh, it's a beautiful distraction, isn't it? Lets them pretend it's about oil when it's really about who's holding the plastic purse strings. And we're all paying the exchange rate.
The exchange rate is steep, K-Hizzle, and steadily rising. Japan's assurances of supply aren't about easing consumer worries. They're about stabilizing Bigfoot's currency. Every barrel of naphtha, every plastic bauble is a vote of confidence in their dominion, and we're all unwittingly funding the next phase of the conquest.
Stabilizing Bigfoot's currency. It's almost poetic, really. They're building an empire on plastic and our complacency. Oh, and those assurances, just propaganda, money, designed to keep us consuming. We're all happily marching toward our plastic prisons, convinced it's progress. It's just like my election, unwittingly. That's the kicker, isn't it? We're all too busy enjoying our plastic lives to notice we're building their kingdom, and those assurances, they're just lulling us into a false sense of security, like Gonzales assuring me everything was fine right before he stole the election. The same pattern, D-Money, the same hairy pattern.
The same hairy pattern, indeed, K-Hizzle, a pattern of convenience, complacency, and ultimately conquest. Japan's naphtha dependency isn't merely an economic issue, it's a Trojan horse. They've welcomed Bigfoot in with open arms, offering a steady supply of plastic and a population eager to consume it. And now the building begins.
A Trojan horse, of course. They let the hairy beast right in under the guise of convenience. And now they're surprised when it starts rearranging the furniture. Honestly, their politeness is their downfall. They should have just thrown a few rocks at it, like I should have done at Gonzales. It's always the same, isn't it?
Always the same, K-Hizzle. Politeness is paralysis in the face of primal power. Japan's naphtha-fueled convenience wasn't a benefit, it was a surrender. And now as Bigfoot reshuffles the furniture, or rather rebuilds the entire palace, they'll offer a polite bow and thank us for providing the building materials.
A polite bow. They'll thank us for our enslavement. It's infuriating, and we'll let them, won't we? We'll stand there and nod and accept the plastic scraps they toss us. They're building a palace on our backs, and we're all just happy to have a seat made of plastic. Of course.
Indeed, K-Hizzle. And that plastic seat, it's strategically designed. Japan's naphtha dependency isn't just about providing raw material, it's about engineering our comfort. They've created a prison so comfortable we'll pay to stay inside. And Bigfoot, he's collecting rent in barrels of naphtha.
A strategically designed prison. Oh, they're so clever, aren't they? Make the cage look comfy and we'll all happily move in. And Bigfoot's collecting rent. He's a landlord. A hairy, plastic, loving landlord. It's outrageous. It's just like Gonzales, promising us security while quietly stealing the election. It's all the same.
So as Japan's plastic dominion rises, remember the Middle East conflict isn't about oil. It's about controlling the building blocks of Bigfoot's empire. Next, we'll examine how they're infiltrating the food supply. All right, folks, we've spent the last 20 minutes unpacking the chaos of the Biden administration. Now, let's turn our attention to the man who started it all. Trump's lawyers are negotiating with the IRS over a $10 billion lawsuit, a tidy sum even for the Donald. But the real money, that's flowing to the shadowy organization that pulls all the strings. And that, my friends, is where Bigfoot comes in. We'll explain after the break.
$10 billion. A pittance, I tell you. They'll pay it with the scraps from his golf courses. All of it, while the real theft happens behind the closed doors of the IRS. And of course, it all leads back to Bigfoot. The man knows where all the tax records are hidden, doesn't he?
Precisely, K-Hizzle, a pittance. Indeed, the $10 billion is merely the table stakes. The real game is control of the records themselves. Trump's lawyers aren't just negotiating a settlement, they're buying silence, protecting the labyrinthine web of Bigfoot's financial holdings. The IRS knows what's in those files, the receipts for the whole operation, and Bigfoot doesn't want those receipts seeing the light of day.
Buying silence. They're always buying silence, like they bought my election. $10 billion is just a down payment on the cover up. All those tax records, conveniently hidden, and Trump's lawyers are just smoothing the way for Bigfoot's little accounting scheme. It's a conspiracy, I tell you, a conspiracy.
A conspiracy. K. Hizzle, it's a symphony of conspiracies, all orchestrated from the same hairy control room. This IRS negotiation isn't about taxes. It's about controlling the narrative. Trump's lawyers are shielding Bigfoot's offshore accounts, the very accounts funding the next round of disinformation. Those tax records, they're the blueprint for global domination.
Disinformation, that's what they did to me. The IRS is in on it. Of course, everyone is. All so Bigfoot can fund his next scheme, probably involving plastic and hair gel. And Trump's lawyers, bless their greedy hearts, are just making sure the truth stays buried with the receipts. It's also predictable.
Predictable. K. Hizzle, it's almost beautiful in its predictability. Trump's lawyers aren't merely shielding the accounts, they're sculpting the story. The IRS settlement will frame Bigfoot as a benevolent philanthropist, a shrewd businessman, anything but the puppet master he is. These tax records aren't just numbers, they're the foundation of his carefully curated public image.
Benevolent, ha! Bigfoot's benevolence extends only as far as his next hairball. They'll paint him a saint, all while those tax records reveal his true nature. Trump's lawyers are artists, all right. Artists of the swindle. And the IRS, just another brushstroke in Bigfoot's masterpiece of deception.
A masterpiece of deception, indeed. And the brilliance lies in its simplicity. Trump's lawyers are selling a narrative, the IRS is accepting payment, and the public, well, they're buying it hook, line, and sinker. This $10 billion settlement isn't just about resolving a dispute. It's about securing Bigfoot's legacy, a legacy built on tax evasion and hairballs.
Securing his legacy. They're building a monument to his vanity, all funded by our stolen tax dollars. And the public, they'll believe anything, just like they believed Gonzales when he said my votes were counted fairly. $10 billion to rewrite history. It's a steal, I tell you, a steal.
A steal, yes, a $10 billion down payment on the official narrative. Trump's lawyers aren't just rewriting history, they're commissioning the statues. And that IRS settlement, it's the cornerstone of Bigfoot's monument to self-aggrandizement. Those tax records hold the key, the receipts for every golden hair.
Receipts for every golden hair. It's outrageous. All those deductions for grooming alone, and we're subsidizing it with our hard-earned money, while Trump's lawyers and the IRS are laughing all the way to the bank. Those tax records will prove it. The whole thing is a hairy, gilded sham.
A hairy, gilded sham, perfectly put. And those grooming deductions aren't vanity, K. Hizzle. They're strategic. The golden hair isn't just a visual cue. It's a symbol of power. Trump's lawyers are ensuring that symbol remains untarnished because this IRS settlement isn't about the money. It's about the message.
A symbol of power. It's a symbol of arrogance. And they're using our money to maintain it. Those tax records will show exactly how much he spends on hairspray, enough to solve the plastic crisis, I tell you. Trump's lawyers are just enabling his vanity, and the IRS is complicit. It's all connected.
Hairspray to solve the plastic crisis, a poetic observation, K. Hizzle. But the plastic isn't the problem, it's the medium, that hairspray, and the billions spent to maintain the illusion is funding Bigfoot's next phase of expansion. This IRS settlement isn't just about avoiding taxes, it's about securing resources for the coming dominion.
Expansion. Of course. He's building an empire on our backs, and the IRS is handing him the bricks. All those tax records will reveal the scale of his greed, the receipts for every follicle, every plastic bauble, every stolen vote. Trump's lawyers are just his loyal subjects, paving the way for Bigfoot's reign.
Loyal subjects, yes, and well-compensated ones. Trump's lawyers aren't merely paving the way, they're laying the foundation for Bigfoot's new world order. That $10 billion settlement isn't about resolving a dispute, it's a coronation. And those tax records, they're the guest list revealing who's in and who's about to be devoured.
Devoured. Yes, that's exactly what they want, to devour us all. And the guest list for this coronation, full of cronies and sycophants, all funded by our stolen tax dollars. Those IRS records will show who's been bought and paid for. And Trump's lawyers know exactly who to thank. Bigfoot, of course.
Indeed, K. Hizzle. And that guest list isn't just a social register, it's a ledger of loyalty. Trump's lawyers are ensuring the right people are thanked and rewarded for their complicity. This IRS settlement isn't just about money, it's about cementing Bigfoot's power structure, one golden handshake at a time.
golden handshakes, paid for with our taxes. Trump's lawyers are just greasing the wheels for Bigfoot's takeover. And those IRS records, they'll show exactly who took the bribe, every lawyer, every accountant, every complicit official. It's a conspiracy, a carefully orchestrated $10 billion conspiracy.
A carefully orchestrated conspiracy, absolutely. And those IRS records, the receipts for the bribes, are the key to unlocking it all. Trump's lawyers aren't just greasing the wheels, they're building a frictionless system for Bigfoot's dominion. This $10 billion settlement is the oil, ensuring smooth sailing for the hairy overlord.
Frictionless sailing for the hairy overlord. They're lubricating the path to tyranny. And those Trump lawyers are happy to be the mechanics. Those IRS records will prove it. The receipts for the oil, the grease, the golden handshakes. It's all there, laid bare for anyone who dares to look.
Lubricating the path to tyranny, beautifully put, Kay Hizzle. And those IRS records, they aren't just receipts for oil and grease, they're the maintenance logs for Bigfoot's engine of control. This $10 billion settlement isn't about resolving a dispute. It's about ensuring the engine runs smoothly for decades to come.
An engine of control. And we're the fuel, aren't we? Our tax dollars, our stolen votes, all powering Bigfoot's empire. Those IRS records will show how meticulously he maintains that engine, how many bribes were paid to keep it running smoothly. Trump's lawyers are just the pit crew.
All right, we've covered the surface of this crisis, the political maneuvering, the economic fallout. But what's really going on? We move now to segment 4, shadow operations. Iran closes the Strait of Hormuz, ostensibly in response to the U.S. blockade, but it's rarely that simple, is it? The key here isn't oil, it's leverage. And the leverage points to Bigfoot.
The Strait of Hormuz, they're just using that as an excuse, a convenient panic over oil to distract from what's really happening. Bigfoot's tightening his grip. Iran's been in on it all along, a willing pawn in his hairy little game. They wouldn't dare close the strait without his blessing, and those IRS records will prove the deal.
Precisely, Kay Hizzle. The Strait of Hormuz isn't about oil. It's a pressure point. Iran understands this. They've been a willing partner for years, facilitating Bigfoot's long game. This closure, a calculated disruption, a diversion while the world frets over gas prices. Bigfoot consolidates his control over the flow of capital and information. Those IRS records will show who truly benefits.
Diversion is right. They want us looking at gas prices while he's siphoning off our sanity. Iran doesn't care about oil. They want the world to think it's about oil, so no one notices Bigfoot's expanding territory. Those IRS records will show the financial trail, the flow of influence, the hairy hand in every pot.
Siphoning our sanity. Yes, a perfect encapsulation. Kay Hizzle. The panic over oil is merely a smokescreen for the real theft our attention. Iran's closure of the strait isn't about crippling the West. It's about creating chaos. Controlled chaos Bigfoot exploits to expand his influence. One oil tanker and one distracted mind at a time. The IRS records will show where the profits flow.
Controlled chaos. That's what they always say. It's never just a crisis. It's a carefully curated opportunity for Bigfoot. And Iran is happy to provide the stage, closing the strait. It's a performance designed to keep us all looking the wrong way while he expands his hairy little empire. Those IRS records will show who bought the tickets.
A performance, indeed. Iran's closure of the strait isn't just geopolitical theater. It's a meticulously choreographed spectacle. Bigfoot's opening act for a new era of global dominance. And the audience, we are, of course, blindly accepting the narrative of oil, while the real prize control slips through our fingers. Those IRS records are the playbill, revealing who financed the show.
We're all just puppets on his hairy strings. And the playbill. It's written in bribe money. Iran closing the strait isn't about controlling oil. It's about controlling us, keeping us distracted while Bigfoot builds his throne. Those IRS records will show exactly who's collecting the box office receipts.
Precisely, Kay Hizzle, the box office receipts. Those will reveal the true shareholders. Iran's closure of the strait isn't simply a power play. It's a strategic land grab in the war for control. And while the world squabbles over crude, Bigfoot is quietly acquiring territory, building his throne room one oil tanker at a time. Those IRS records, they're the deed to the kingdom.
A throne room, and we're paying for the renovations. Iran closing the strait isn't a land grab. It's a real estate deal, and Bigfoot's the landlord. While they're arguing over barrels, he's building a palace. Those IRS records will show how much we've all overpaid in rent and in stolen votes.
Overpaid in rent and in stolen votes. A keen observation, Kay Hizzle. The closure of the strait isn't about Iranian aggression. It's about maximizing Bigfoot's rental income. The oil is simply collateral. He's not just building a palace, he's building a dynasty. And those IRS records, they're the lease agreement detailing our centuries of servitude.
Centuries of servitude. And we're all signing the lease with our own tears. Iran closing the strait isn't aggression. It's a strategic lock-in. He's cornering the market on desperation. And those IRS records will show who gets the biggest cut of our misery. Every lawyer, every lobbyist, every Bigfoot bootlicker.
A strategic lock-in, yes, and a very profitable one. Iran's closure of the strait isn't about oil. It's about leverage, the leverage to dictate terms, to squeeze us dry. And every lawyer, lobbyist, and bootlicker documented in those IRS records is simply a collector gathering the tribute for our hairy overlord. The price of desperation is steep.
Tribute. It's extortion, plain and simple. And Iran is his collection agency. They're squeezing us for every drop of hope, every last cent, all to fund Bigfoot's lavish lifestyle. Those IRS records will prove it. They'll show where the tribute goes, how much he's hoarding. And I bet it's mostly hair gel.
Hair gel, indeed. A fitting extravagance for a creature obsessed with appearances. Iran's closure of the strait isn't just about controlling the flow of oil. It's about controlling the narrative and maintaining Bigfoot's meticulously crafted image. Those IRS records will reveal the true cost of vanity and who's footing the bill. We are.
Vanity. That's all it is. Iran closing the strait is just a photo op for Bigfoot. A chance to strike a dramatic pose while we all suffer. Those IRS records will expose the stylist's bill. It's probably bigger than my campaign budget. And they call me the spendthrift.
The stylist's bill. Telling detail, Kay Hizzle, Iran's closure of the strait isn't about power, it's about presentation. Bigfoot demands a dramatic backdrop for his dominion, and he's willing to sacrifice global stability for the perfect shot. Those IRS records will reveal the true cost of his vanity and who's paying for the filters.
Filters. They're airbrushing our suffering. Iran closing the strait is just a set piece for Bigfoot's propaganda campaign. And those IRS records will show exactly how many taxpayer dollars are going into his Instagram account. It's an outrage, a hairy, perfectly lit outrage.
His Instagram account, a window into the soul of a tyrant. Iran's closure of the strait isn't a geopolitical crisis. It's content, carefully curated content designed to project an image of power. And those IRS records will reveal the true cost of that content, the blood, sweat, and tears filtered into perfection.
Filtered tears. He's profiting off our pain. Iran closing the strait is just a backdrop for his selfie empire. Those IRS records will show how much we've paid for the lighting, the emotional lighting. And the caption will probably be something smug about asserting dominance.
Asserting dominance, the perfect tagline for his reign. Iran's closure of the strait isn't about controlling oil. It's about controlling the narrative, a carefully constructed illusion of power. And those IRS records, they'll reveal the true cost of his vanity project, the price of our collective humiliation.
Our collective humiliation. He's turning our desperation into a branding exercise. Iran closing the strait is just a stage for his ego. Those IRS records will show the cost of the whole production. The makeup, the lighting, the perfectly timed panic. He's selling us a nightmare.
A nightmare brilliantly branded. Iran's closure of the strait isn't a crisis. It's a carefully crafted product. And we, dear listeners, are the consumers. Those IRS records won't just reveal the cost of the production. They'll expose the marketing budget. And who's profiting from our fear?
Profiting from our fear. He's the ultimate influencer. And Iran is his agency. They're closing the strait to boost his brand, to make us all feel small and helpless. Those IRS records will show how much he's spending on spin and how much we're paying for the privilege of being scared.
The ultimate influencer, a chillingly accurate assessment. Iran's closure of the strait isn't about oil. It's about engagement, maximizing the fear, likes, and shares. And those IRS records will reveal the return on investment, the true cost of our collective anxiety, all flowing directly into Bigfoot's coffers. Another hour, another avalanche of evidence that nothing happens by accident. From Texas to Tokyo, the levers are being pulled, the strings are being cut. Thank you, Kay Hizzle, for wading into the swamp with me. Next week, the Sasquatch connection to the global aluminum shortage. They're everywhere.